let's say it's all simulation, and if we're inside the simulation, there would be, like, the way we communicate and tell each other things is with words. Well, really what we're doing is we're taking ideas, which are an abstract thing, and we're breaking them down into symbols, written word or spoken word, to convey an idea that's not perfect, because you don't get my idea when I write it or tell it or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I get it because of the like what we've agreed upon, the symbols that you give it mean, but we each have a different...
But you might not even see the idea that I'm going for.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But so like, okay, anyway, so you have these things. So we have words, right? And so, like, say, for example, I want, like, say you have a desire. I want to be a filmmaker. So you'd write down, I want to be a successful filmmaker, right?
Yeah. Should we do this right now?
Do you want to do this one?
Yeah. No, I mean, should we do the vigil or whatever?
The sigil?
The sigil?
We could.
Like, I need paper?
Give me a piece of paper and a pen.
All right. Is marker okay?
That'll work.
How about a playing card?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can make it work. So, to do it in this sense, it would be like...
So right now we've got a baby blue Sharpie, and I'm recording this, by the way, just because
I figured you were.
It's interesting. And a 3 of clubs.
Yeah. And then I want a pizza. Okay?
Yeah. That's
okay.
Good enough to put into the universe.
And so, what you would go through is you actually go through all your vowels. You get rid of your vowels. Boom, 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 boom. So now we're just left with a string of some repeating consonants.
Sure.
Right? So we would get rid of
Z's.
We would get rid of those 2 Z's. So now we're left with W, N, T, P, Z. All right?
Yeah.
So now what we do is we actually just bust that down and condense it down into one symbol. So it's like, think of Prince, like the Prince symbol.
Yeah.
Think of Nike, fucking McDonald's, anything, right?
Yeah.
So what we do, for example, I always start with the W for whatever reason, because I like 3s, I think that is.
Okay.
All right, and so the way I would do it, I already have a Z in there.
You've got an N in there too, if you want.
I got an N in there.
Just a tilted Z.
So, exactly. So what I would do in this one is, for example, I would do something like this, okay? And then I would actually just build off of it and do, actually I'd make this a little bit longer, and then I would do like, I'd come down like this.
Yep.
So this is a very, very simple... Alright.
And that's the symbol for I want pizza.
I want pizza. So at this point, this sigil is now made. It's in the universe. Alright. And some people say you have to charge these. I don't really think so. Like, I think once you make it and you actually want that, like that's something you actually want, it's essentially like, oh, this is like really easy to remember, and like you meditate on it for a little bit and you look at it and you'll start, that whole word is in that little symbol.
What do
you want a pizza, it's in that symbol. That's all it is. So it's like bringing this idea down into an abstract, and I think about it as like hacking the universe. It's essentially just making one of 2 things. Either it's taking your drive and your subconscious and essentially just making you do the math to add up the solution you want.
Sure.
You know, constantly working towards it. Or it's sending it up to the server above and being like, yo, dude, cheat code.
So, my question is, do you now believe you're going to get pizza?
Oh, I'm going to get pizza.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it.
So, and everyone, like, I told Andrew about this. Andrew thinks it's funny. Justin thinks it's funny. The way to charge. So the way I learned about this is Grant Morrison. He's a comic book writer.
Okay.
He did a lot of Batman. He did a lot of fucking everything.
Yeah. But I'm not a comic book guy.
So he in his comics, like at the beginning,
Batman.
like how they have forewords and stuff.
Sure.
He would actually like.
They all start with 4 words.
He would teach people how to do magic.
Okay.
And this was like one of them. He would do a lot of talks on them. You could look it up on YouTube, and there would be a whole talk for 30 minutes.
So this isn't something you've
No, I didn't create
concocted
this.
it. Okay.
No. This goes far beyond me. And he
So how do you charge it again?
So this is, according to him, there's a few ways you could charge it. What you could do is you could dance to exhaustion while constantly picturing this.
It doesn't take me long to dance to exhaustion.
You could also
really
meditate on it. But my favorite, actually, and probably yours too, would be to jerk off to that image.
Yeah.
Imagine it in your head, and at the peak of your climax, just watch it burn up and send it up to the universe.
Is this related at all to chaos magic?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's related to.
Cool. Okay, so I was just listening. I was telling you about last podcast on the left.
Mm-hmm.
There's this dude, Henry. He's the funniest.
Henry.
I mean, they're all very funny. He's this short, used to be fat Polish guy. But he wished he chaos magic. He believes chaos magicked his role in Heroes Reborn.
Yeah. Oh, you can totally do that.
And then he hated it.
You can manifest what you want in reality. I totally believe that.
Because he wanted something so big, the universe was like, better look out for what you wish for.
Mm.
But you asking for pizza, that's not gonna disrupt anything.
So.
Do you then burn it? Do you actually burn it?
I've done a few different ways. I've burnt it. I have some hung up still. Like there's actually one still on the ceiling of my old room at my mom's house.
A recurring one that you just kind of maybe charge a little bit here. Well, you don't need to charge. But
so like
just have
this is what makes me know. This is what makes me know this actually works because for these very reasons here. All right, like this is legit. This is a shoot. All right, so I did one because I grew up super poor.
And telling people about it doesn't jinx it.
I don't believe that shit.
Okay, well, I mean, you're talking about symbols and magic.
What, jerking off to symbols?
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, whatever. It's normal.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. But no, this is fascinating.
Yeah. So I grew up super poor and youngest of 6. Really really poor, and we never had money my whole life growing up.
Oh, is that what poor means?
Yeah, that's what poor means.
I didn't know if you can't tell by my really cool shirt I'm wearing. It's button up. A lot of colors on it.
I actually like that, and I like the whole getup you got. I like the shorts with it. What are those, vinyl?
They're starter shorts. Probably about a $3 short pant mesh above the knee.
It's very good for this humid weather right now, but...
Oh. I'm breathing downstairs. It's great.
Speaking of breathing, I'm breathing fresh air after I did this sigil. You like that segue? I went all the way back.
I love when people can remember what we were talking about because I'm not paying attention.
So I did a sigil for my family, and I will never have to worry about money again. Right?
Yeah. How old were you?
This was way later in my life.
Okay.
In my 20s.
Okay.
So.
Can I take a quick time out?
Yeah.
Just to introduce you?
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's a special secret guest.
Secret guest. I like that.
For everybody listening, because you are, this started as maybe we'll just talk about it. Maybe we'll record it. It's now being recorded. You know me, old Sam. I'm chilling. I've got a somewhat special guest with me today. Ian, a good buddy I met at movie night, which I've detailed many a time.
I gotta go back and listen to these now.
You do, yeah. They're pretty great. But yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Let's get back into this magic.
Yeah. So I was in my mid-20s. I do this sigil, never have to worry about money again. Next thing I know, my grandma passes away, and we find out that she owned land where there's a bunch of oil, and so we have a bunch of money all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right? And my grandma loved us. So I honestly believe if she ever had this money or ever knew about it, she would have helped.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden,
she wasn't living this lavish lifestyle.
No, not at all.
She was a grandma.
Yeah, she's a grandma.
In
She
North Dakota?
made the best pancakes. Yeah, North Dakota.
Oh,
made the
man.
best pancakes.
My grandma made the best banana bread.
Oh, really?
But it's not a competition. Everybody's grandma's great.
Yeah. So that was one, and then another one I did was I'll be a successful filmmaker, and the next thing I know, like I'm messaging or I comment on a Facebook post with Perry Saturn, and I'm doing his documentary now with Jericho and like all
Yeah.
this stuff. So like yeah, I firmly believe.
So this is kind of a somewhat wrestling podcast too,
Ooh.
because I started podcasting when the homies Eric and Gus started getting me into wrestling.
Is
and
that
I-
like a tag team with the homies, Eric and Gus?
Kind of. It's really weird. They were my friends from separate colleges, and I met them both, and I was like, you guys would love each other because you both hate me.
That's an alarm.
That's
I'm
weird.
sorry.
Your alarm goes off, but I have to sit outside your apartment for 25 minutes because your phone's on silent.
Notifications and alarms are
Oh,
two different things.
Absolutely. An alarm will break through the do not disturb. But yeah, so I got into wrestling. We've talked a lot about wrestling. I don't know why I was just talking about wrestling.
I think probably because I brought up Perry Saturn.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you know my good friend Perry.
Explain who these people are you're working with, because it's crazy. Your Facebook profile picture is with
Chris Jericho. Yeah.
Awesome.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
The greatest of all time.
That's what it stands for,
Yeah.
I'm told.
Y2 Jericho. Drinking in, man. No, he's like the coolest dude. He obviously is a WWE pro wrestler. Also, lead singer of the band Fozzy. He's done like some TV like hosting gigs.
Okay.
I think he was on Dances with the Stars or some
Sure.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I hear a lot of WWE guys do ballet
Yeah.
to like keep limber.
I know he did yoga. I don't know if he ever did ballet. I know he did yoga, DDP yoga after
Oh, sure.
after a while.
Who you've also had the displeasure of.
He was cool. He was cool enough.
Yeah.
There's Raven. I met Raven too, but DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, WCW, really legend. I mean, he's a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
DDP Yoga is his new gimmick now, and
I wonder if at the end is when all is said and done, if that's where his money's gonna be. Like that's where it all came from, was the yoga.
Dude, that's probably where most of it's. Well, I mean, the guy can like work any freaking fan fest and get paid for crazy amounts. He'll get like $50 for
Like
a picture of him and a handshake,
like an 8x12 or something.
Yeah. But
that'd be the life.
Yeah, I know, right? So Jericho, it was super cool. Raven also met him. I also filmed a bunch of wrestling here in Minnesota.
You did like a Sunday
Shockwave, and then we switched stations because we were on channel or CW15.
Okay.
And then I was on channel 45 later on. That was on a Saturday, and then we rebranded. It was awesome, dude. I was coming up with storylines with the main booker. Like, me and him, we would talk for hours a day, like, coming up with storylines. We had really awesome shit going on. We did a stretcher match.
That sounds like a dream for you.
Oh, it was
like
super
I would
tight.
like the story part.
Oh, it was super tight. And so the story part's really fun. Even filming it, like, you get in a dance. Like, when you're filming a match, and you're like, fuck, dude, I'm telling this story. Like, you're into it, and like, you're just feeling it, and you're moving in with them, and you're doing this whole thing to just convey what they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
It gets, I mean, it's been honestly the most pleasurable and most fulfilling work was the year I did that I've ever had. Seriously.
Why'd you stop doing that?
Oh, the promoter's a scummy promoter. Like,
that sounds like it's par for the course.
Yeah,
with wrestling,
mean, like what you would think of for a freaking a scummy old school promoter, not paying people, ripping people off. Dude was making crazy money hand over fist. You'd like charge a high school like $4,500 to run a show.
Jeez.
All right, then he'd go and get like 20 sponsors at like $100 a piece. That I'll give you a table and you'll be there, and a bunch of fans will be there. 800 people, brother. No less. I always draw 800 people, brother. Don't worry, brother. You'll make so much money. You're gonna love it. So that's my impression. He really kind of sounds like that. Yeah. And so
I like how it like slowly built. The funnier I liked it, the more accurate it seemed to
get. So he'll sell the show, and then he'll go to a bar and sell him the after party. Oh, dude, we'll have the after party here. He'll get like $1,000 for that. So think about that for a second. He's got sponsors. He got let's call it $2,000 in sponsors, $4,500 from the main venue, and another $1,000 for the after party. You
It's
know,
like $9,000.
that's like $9,500. Yeah.
I didn't even do the math, but I was gonna say 13, and then I was like, just go under 10. It couldn't have been more than 10.
Yeah, but he's getting like, and then you would think, oh, he's going to be paying a lot out for the talent, the wrestlers. He has, usually 6 matches, so that's 12 plus guys.
And what's how big is the crew? Like the film
so you
crew?
got so there's 3 refs. There was me and anyone else I brought, which was either 1 or 2 people. It'd be Kelvin or Pascal. Or whoever else I could wrangle into man hard cam. So I would prefer. I don't think wrestling should be shot with less than 3 man cameras.
Right.
1 man hard cam and 2 man floor cams at the very very least.
Yeah.
And then I would bring them. So there would be up to 3 camera crew. There would be up to 3 refs. 12 plus wrestlers, a commentator, a sound guy. And various people to help with the ring.
That's a decent payroll.
You would think.
Yeah.
It's $1,000.
Like that's his budget for all those employees.
Everything.
$50 flat rate for anybody, any job.
No, like I got the most out of everyone because I would get like $150 a show, and I would split that between 3 people. Usually I'd split between me and Kelvin because Kelvin would drive.
Sure.
And I mean, it's only fair that I would split it with Kelvin. And then I also would bring in actresses and other people to do storylines. I'd pay them out of pocket.
Okay. But to make it more interesting?
Yeah, to make it more interesting because I got paid back. Where I really made my money was I would do 4 episodes. So we might run 2 events a month, and then I'd do 4 episodes of television, which were $250 a piece. So that's that's $1,000 right there.
Yeah.
And then I would also do commercials where I would film them, edit them, and put them out, and I would make like $500 a commercial.
Like for the wrestling.
For the wrestling show, yeah. And
that's great. That's a good amount of money.
So I usually make like $2,000 a month, which is like fine. You could totally live off that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything crazy. And then any other job I got on top of that, which I would pick up here and there, do other wrestling shows, do other things outside of that one. But yeah, you wouldn't pay anyone shit. I mean,
that's terrible.
A lot, like all the referees work for free, like every one of them. It was.
Are referees generally other wrestlers that are trying to like?
Sometimes not. So it's usually other wrestlers that can't make it through training or decide, I this is too hard. I'll be a manager or a referee.
Okay.
That's one of the two. Some of the referees are super tight. There's this one referee, Evan. After a show one night, we were staying at a casino. We were all partying because you party with wrestlers, right? When you're out with wrestlers, you party with wrestlers.
I've never been out with wrestlers. I would. I think that's how it goes.
Yep. And so we've never seen this guy cut loose. Dude, he was so drunk. It was the greatest thing. He was like talking shit to another one of the wrestlers that everyone talks shit to.
Yeah. Kind of like you at movie night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it was super fun. But the reason I broke it off was just because he was a scummy dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be working with that no more.
I think my friend Danny worked on that show. She did like some interviews or something.
Oh.
Purple hair. I don't know if she had purple hair then. But
Danny Blonde or...
Yeah.
I brought her on. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she probably knows Calvin too.
Yeah, she knows Calvin.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, I brought her on. She did a few interviews. I think she came like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, no, I love Danny. She's a cool chick.
Good for her. So this Perry Saturn documentary, right?
Back to that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back to the magic.
Yeah.
You believe that you got this thing because you did this sigil?
Dude, think about this. Like sigil.
I'm not discounting it at all because I don't understand anything in the universe.
Think about it this way, though. Okay, what reasoning or what are the chances that this is legitimately how I came upon the documentary. I was working with AWF. I was promoting the YouTube channel and everything else. So I was doing a bunch of Facebook groups related to wrestling. And I see someone shared a post from Perry Saturn, his Facebook page. I was like, dude, I fucking love Perry Saturn. I was actually just looking at his life not too long ago. And then he in the video he was like, does anyone, because dealing with my CTE and all this other traumatic brain injuries, does anyone have any ideas of what things I can do to make money? And I commented like, I'll edit some videos for you that I can sell online on his actual page, or if you want, let's work on a documentary. From that comment, his wife contacted me, and then Perry contacted me, and then next thing I know, I'm meeting with him eating a barbecue, talking about natural born killers and a bunch of other goofy shit.
Yeah.
We totally hit it off. And then next thing I know, like legitimately, I'm emailing Jericho off of his website.
Yeah.
Just a cold email. Hey, do you want to do a documentary? Emails me back in 12 hours or less, saying, come here on these dates. I can do an interview.
So are you producing this thing yourself then?
Yeah.
You're funding it all, and then.
So I got like 8,500, a little over the $8,000 on Seed and Spark, and most of that was to it was gonna pay me back for what I put in, essentially, so then we would be broken even, and I could go back into Perry making money as soon as possible. That ended up not being the case. I'm using that for animations and other stuff. So I'm like 16K in on the documentary.
Yeah.
Which isn't like a ton, but it's a ton.
It's an investment for a young filmmaker. You graduated last year?
Yeah.
So, I mean, congratulations on making a movie, dude.
Yeah, dude. And I got a plan to use this to my benefit to switch over to my narrative work. And I mean, now I got contacts. Like I legitimately like have Diamond Dallas Page's number. I can call him.
Well, and I mean, you've got
a
Facebook profile picture with Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much cooler.
He
than
follows me on Twitter.
Dude, you should.
Yeah, he tweeted it. Like he messaged me on Twitter. He DM'd me actually.
You gonna tweet him and be like, "Hey man, we talked about you on this podcast, this shitty podcast.
Check it out, dude."
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, like legitimately.
I'll drop a Fozzy song at the end and get sued.
Yeah, do it.
It'd be great.
That'd be awesome. He would not sue you.
No, not that we're talking about it. He couldn't.
Yeah, I know, right? You got me in a corner, guys.
Yeah, we'll do a sigil about it. We'll make sure it doesn't happen if he hears this.
We'll put it in the universe. Like, so I gotta say though, like I gotta take a minute. I say this all the time. I put Jericho over. Not that he fucking needs it, but I put that guy over all the time. Think about it. The guy is like legit. Like he has through all social media like 10 million followers.
Oh sure.
Like the guy is known.
Yeah.
He's a star, like at the highest level.
No, he's like he's a legitimate celebrity.
Yeah.
You know the comedian Godfrey?
Yeah.
He's not.
He
follows me on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like that's not a brag. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho following you on Twitter in your profile picture?
Yeah.
Wet.
Yeah, dude.
It's great.
Yeah. So but he's like way up there in status, and he's legitimately willing to be like, look at his email, see a random email from me, and be like, make sure that it's actually legit, and be like, yeah, awesome, because he knows that it's gonna help sell the movie.
Yeah.
Having Jericho in it helps sell the movie.
And that's gonna help Perry.
So I hit up Raven on Twitter, messaged him, and he
Raven Simone.
No, Raven the wrestler.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, The Raven Effect is, I believe, his podcast and his Twitter handle. I hit him up, and he messaged me back on Twitter like within 12 hours also, telling me, hey, email me. I messaged DDP off of his website, never heard back from him. And that's fine. Like, that just, a lot of times they just don't see it.
Yeah.
Or how do they
They're
know
bombarded with...
Yeah, or how they know you're not just some crazy mark who's trying to work their way into their house.
Which, I mean, you got in both of their houses,
that was
right?
for Jericho, because of Jericho. So after the interview, Jericho's just the coolest, normal dude. Like, I was kind of marking out beforehand. I was like, oh, this is going to be crazy. Once I shook his hand, he was just a normal dude, and I was just like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. You just sign this. He's like, yeah, no problem, dude, blah, blah. We get in, and once he walks in the hotel room, we were staying at the Hilton, in a 2-room presidential suite. And he walks in and he says, "Or high rollers, big spender, nice fucking hotel room." And walks into the bathroom and blow dries his hair.
Just right away, because wrestlers are always wet.
Yeah.
Like their hair is always drenched. I think it's awesome.
Well,
it
we
looks
were in
so
Tampa
cool
too, but yeah.
Oh, sure. And people in
Yeah.
Florida are wrestlers.
Yeah,
And
everyone's a
wrestlers are
wrestler.
wet. Yeah.
Exactly. So he after the interview, which was awesome, he was super open and just super awesome about it. He's like, "Dude, thanks so much for doing the interview." He's like, "Yeah, no problem." And he's like, "What are you gonna do about wrestling footage, like WWE footage?" And I was like, "Well, I've sent him emails. I've talked to their legal department trying to get something.
Yeah.
They don't respond to me." Which makes sense. Perry has an open lawsuit against WWE right now.
Sure.
So why would they want help?
Yeah.
So I told him that, and I was like, well, I'm gonna use some and try to get it down to fair use.
Yeah.
I hope they don't sue me. And he's like, well, let me talk to Mark Corona, who's the head of talent relations at WWE. Sweet. And then I was like, I'm gonna be in Atlanta doing Raven, and I wanted to get DDP. Sucks that I couldn't. And he's like, oh, I'll make that happen. Since you're there, he's like, yeah, I'll get a hold of him. Next thing I know, after he leaves, I got an email from him. I got 2 emails. I love the way he worked this. I got 2 emails from Jericho. One, it was me and DDP both CC'd in the email. And he said, hey, Dallas, this is Ian. He's doing the documentary. He's a cool dude. Get in touch with him. The very next email, which is like a minute later, it says it's a minute later. It was a second later. He emailed me and he said, Ian, this is DDP's number. He wants to talk with you. Give him a call. And so I gave DDP a call. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail saying, referencing the email and everything, and hung up. And then DDP verified it, called me back in a half hour, and grilled me on the movie.
Oh, man. And then when you actually met him, that was pretty intense, right? And he was kind of a dick. Kind of. A little bit. He was... The one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way is because I understand that because he was doing he was filming another TV show. I can't remember the TV show, but he was filming a segment that was very VFX heavy, and you never know the days in filming, and I understand that. And it was kind of last minute. So I stayed like an extra 2 days to get an interview with him. So I rented equipment out longer. I changed my flights. I rented rooms and equipment longer, So that cost me money, which is whatever. But the day I'm supposed to meet with him, I'm actually going to his house, which is very nice of him. And I'm taking an Uber with all of my equipment, C-stands, lights. It's a film set is more than people know. And so I have to take like Uber XL, like one of the big Ubers. So the most expensive one too. Exactly. So I have room to fit all this stuff, and I make sure I always call the Uber once I get them. I was like, hey, I have a bunch of equipment. Yeah. Just so you know, do you still want this ride? Yeah. And they always usually take it. So I'm heading over to DDP's house, and he says, be there at 10. And I texted him, I said, and I figured I'd be there a little bit. I like being places early because I hate being late to anything. It's professional. Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to be there 5 to 10 minutes early to be able to set up so we can get you in and out and I can be gone. And I was trying to take his time into account. And it might be because the tone text back, but legitimately just reading it, I could read it neutral to you, and like you'll kind of probably think the same thing. I'll read it neutral. Here, let me try. Yeah. Hey, this is Ian. I just want to set up my stuff a little early, so it's just pretty quick for us to do the thing. Just trying to respect your time. No, Ian. I told you 10 a.m. Yeah. The no and then your name is very stern. Yes. That's exactly. Or it's like he's like, I'm trying to make him know I care, so I'm saying his name. But it's like, but it's and I was just like, oh fuck. So I legitimately asked the Uber driver to stop, and I was 3 blocks away. Yeah, something like that. Unloaded everything. Is this a nice part of town? This is a nice part of town. Yeah. To sit for like 5-10 minutes. I think it was like 5 minutes. To order another Uber to drive me a few blocks. That's so bizarre. It would have been so funny if it was the same driver.
Yeah, I
Like
know,
like
right?
he hadn't gotten that
Yeah.
far away. And
He's like, dude, I've
oh.
just been waiting for a fair this whole time.
Yeah, he's like a block away.
Yeah, but yeah, no. So that was that experience, and also the first time I talked to him on the phone, he just grilled me on what the documentary was going to be, like things that
Yeah.
you're asking if you're a producer or director on it, and like he's like saying things, and it's like in my head, like I'm hearing the things he's saying, but it's like, yo, motherfucker, that's not the angle I'm taking.
No.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's he probably just wanted to make sure it was real, something he could get behind.
From what I hear though, that's just kind of his personality.
Sure.
That's just kind of who he is. I mean, he's a nice guy. I mean, I love that he gave me the interview and everything. And I mean, it kind of sucks that he. So he had his guy sit there and film the whole thing, and then because obviously he doesn't trust me that I'm not going to use his words against him to screw him over
Sure.
with WWE. But that's not the fucking story.
Yeah.
You know. So
that's not important at all.
This is legit. I'm gonna do this. So the cut I have, DDP wants me before he signs off on a release for his appearance. He wants me to send him a cut.
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna send him a cut. If he tries to give me some bullshit fucking notes like he's the director, I'm gonna send him another cut where he's removed from every single scene, and he's gonna be like, "Where am I?"
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be like, "Yo, dude, you didn't make the cut."
Yeah, I mean, you can't just take control of somebody else's project because you're bigger than them. That's not how art works.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it shouldn't. You know what? That is how a lot of things get made, I think. That's how Hollywood
But that's
runs.
the thing. If you're a producer on it and you're giving something of value, like some money or some whatever, that's really adding a ton of value to it, and you come on as a producer, you have every right to make those suggestions.
Absolutely.
You know? But if you're coming on as an executive producer, but if you're just a guy that said he'd do an interview out of the kindness of his heart.
Yeah. He's a thank you, a special thanks.
Exactly.
That's his credit.
Exactly.
Shouldn't be giving suggestions.
No.
He should be like, hey, thanks for giving me this opportunity to be in a movie about a friend from the past.
You would think.
I don't know. That's how I think. But has there been any like negatives with this envisioning the real into abstract? Like, do you have any tangible evidence that maybe what you're doing is not good?
Yeah.
That's you said you were going to whisper into the mic, and you did it, but that's not what I.
That wasn't where it was.
There it is.
Yeah.
It'll happen again, I'm sure.
Yeah. No. So I guess like the biggest thing that I just recently went to Boston with Perry, and he was getting inducted into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. They kept telling me it was the New England Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I don't know why in my fucking head, like I thought it was like grandiose, like ballroom with this huge auditorium, like all these people.
And it's not for a state. It's not for anything but the weird geographical area that it.
Yeah.
New England's not a state, is it?
I mean, it's like a area, like a region,
a collection of East Side bumpkins.
Yeah. So I thought, like, oh, this is going to be like this whole thing where it's like it's prestigious. And so in my head, like, I'm picturing all of these possibilities because it's full of possibilities. And then I should have known better because I've been involved with wrestling for long enough. I should have known better because I get there and, I mean, it's basically in a VFW.
Sure, yeah.
You know? And
that's kind of sad.
Yeah, and then when because Perry's like the 9th or like 11th out of 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's far down on the line of inductees, and you have the inductors and the inductees, and the inductors are really taking their time.
Sure.
Milking
it.
Like a 10-minute promo and doing all of this stuff. All right, so, and Perry's been there since 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like 9 o'clock at night now. He's fucking sore. He's sick of dealing with it.
That's ridiculous.
He wants to go home. You know, exactly.
That's an event?
Yeah, they did a fan fest beforehand where he's like signing autographs and stuff.
Yeah.
And he made a good amount of money that night, which was great. And then they did the Hall of Fame like 2 hours after the Fan Fest. So he got a little bit of a break.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
seriously, he's been
out of the house.
He's been at it all day. So he's getting pretty sick of this. And he's not a guy of a bunch of words and big celebration anyway. So he gets up there, and I'm filming it. Like, all right, now I'm going to get the sound bites that I'm going to use for the documentary. And I got to make sure I get these shots, you know.
And are you doing this all by yourself
Yeah.
at this point?
Yeah. And so Perry gets up there, and he's like, yeah, I don't really have a ton to say, you know, thanks for this, and like walks away. And,
Man.
And he walks the wrong way, and he comes back to the podium, and he's like, no, I'm just kidding. And he's like, but no, I really don't have a lot to say. Killer Kowalski always said, they gotta believe you, kid, or believe in you, kid, or something like that. And
who said that?
Killer Kowalski, an old.
I thought you said Kelly Kapowski.
No, we're gonna keep. It was Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah.
Told Perry Saturn. Yeah. Yeah. So
Tiffany Ann Thiessen.
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell.
So he says that, like, thanks for make sure you recognize, kid. And he said thanks for recognizing me or whatever, and then thanks for noticing me, and then he left.
Yeah.
So like I got that one little soundbite. So I was thinking I was gonna get this big whole thing, but I got like this kind of sweet thing actually. So it's gonna work and it's gonna play, but it's not what I had in my head.
You wanted like maybe a voiceover you could put in there.
Yeah, I wanted like maybe something a bit more. I really wanted the backdrop to be prettier.
Yeah,
that's
for
really,
sure.
That's really all.
Absolutely,
because I could have cut around and did whatever if I just had a better backdrop.
Yeah, not like a wood panel wall.
Yeah,
with pictures of the
and
locals.
so I went super tight on Perry, you know, because I have to, because the background sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Boston was cool though. I also thought I was going to get a longer interview with the doctor. Yeah. I tried to go through the proper channels. They never got back to me. The doctor said he would give me an interview. I got like 4 minutes with him. He said he'll give me another one, but the thing is, because we were in the facility's owned by a whole bureaucracy.
Oh, sure.
You know, they own the rights to the location, so he can't give an interview in that location. Which is fine.
If it's only 4 minutes that you lost, I mean, if you're doing a second interview, you might as well get it somewhere else, get it again.
Exactly. So that was also kind of a kick in the dick. But the trip to Boston was real fun. Really bonded with Perry over that trip too, because like.
Is that where he lives?
So
or were you?
No, he lives in Albert Lea. Actually, he's only like 90 minutes away from us.
My sister lives in Albert Lea.
Really?
Maybe we could all get together and have some Korean barbecue.
Yeah, dude. Perry just hangs out in Albert Lea.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He lives by the train tracks. Yeah.
Oh, tight.
Yeah.
I don't know where my sister lives. I think there's a lake nearby.
Yeah.
Some trees.
Yeah, he actually has to come back to the house because he left his hat at the house. His hat and his towel.
Oh man.
Yeah. So,
what a mess.
But no, after that Boston trip, because I was there with his two best friends. So he's not from Boston, but that's where he like grew up. He calls Boston home. Yeah. He's from Cleveland, Ohio, he's from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, I would call Boston home too.
Yeah, and so and that's where he like spent most of his years. That's where all of his memories are and shit like that. But I met two of his best friends, Mike and Paul. Those fucking grovelers.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're cool guys. I love them. Mike used to drive around Andre the Giant.
And what Paul, a cool job.
I know, right? And Paul was a referee. He was a youngest trainee of Killer Kowalski. He was 16 years old, and he was a referee in the ECW and other places on TV. Those two guys are super cool. We all three of us got along super well. Had a great time. Drank a bunch of beers together. Perry didn't drink any, but
yeah.
But yeah, no. After that trip, it was like, I mean, it was weird thinking about. It's like, yeah, like Perry staying at my house isn't like anything weird to me now.
No, for sure.
You know, and like as a kid,
awesome.
Which is super weird because as a kid, like I legitimately like would watch WCW in I was at my grandma's house because my grandma's awesome. She makes good pancakes.
Dude, right on.
Yeah, and
Sick.
she had two TVs.
Sick callback.
I know. I waited. I was building it.
Can't wait to bring up my grandma.
So she had two TVs. She had one in the living room and one in the kitchen, or excuse me, the dining room. And I'd have WCW on in the dining room and WWE Raw in the living room.
Tight.
And I'd run back and forth between the two. And I loved Perry Saturn because he was a badass. He looked like he was gonna be. He was a badass, and like his Death Valley driver just looked crazy painful. And he was also cockeyed. And I'm actually legally blind in my right eye.
Really?
Yeah. So when I was 3 years old, I jumped off a piece of hay or a hay bale and a piece of clothesline wire went in and out of my eye and detached my retina.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
ouchie, mama.
yeah, like actually, like the color was like bleeding out into like the white part of my eyes, like blurbing out and stuff, and
friggin' weird.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're two different colors.
Yeah,
you can see one's darker, and look at the pupil sizes; they're different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't believe you,
but
I do.
I would tell you like, hey, hold up some fingers, but you're gonna flip me off because like everyone does that.
Yeah, you just told me to, so I did it.
Yeah. So, but no. So I was actually there's a part of my eye I could see out of. So my brain used to try to correct my eye so it'd go cockeyed, and I had like numerous surgeries on the eye to straighten it. And one of my last surgeries, I actually had to get surgery on the opposite eye to straighten the crooked eye.
What?
Like pulling the muscle, because I had so many stitches in this one that they needed to go from this one to pull the muscle over.
Okay, yeah.
And it's been fine ever since. I actually had that surgery. I had it recorded on VHS for me. I'm not even
really
kidding. I'm not even kidding.
That's hilarious.
I was also blind for like 2 days, and it was the worst time of my life because they did the surgery on this eye, and they sewed the eye shut actually because the surgery took part over like 2 days. Anyway,
we should cut that, like make a little like put a horror score to it, and then put some like spooky sound effects into it and release it. That'd be sweet,
dude. So at one point, like,
stupid.
But at one point, they have this thing over my eye, and the best way I can explain it is like a peeled piece of apple, like that same consistency, same color, and they just put it over the black part of my eye, just drop it out with little tweezers, and then they come at you with a fishing hook, right? And there's at one point in time where it moved. And then next thing you see is my eye is just moving around, and there's like a needle, like a fishing hook, just like next to my eye, and the tweezers comes in and just grabs it out.
Dude, gross.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah, it was super tight.
That's sweet though. That's all on.
That was all on VHS. Yeah, and then so I was cross-eyed growing up, and so I identified with Perry because I would get made fun of, and my dad was pretty shitty, so like we would. I grew up. My mom was a single parent, so growing up and idolizing Perry as a kid, like, oh, look at him, he's cross. I bet you no one beats him up. I bet you no one like messes with him.
Did you tell him this?
Yeah, and it was super crazy. Like hearing his life growing up, like he said the exact like when he watched wrestling for the first time, and like he told me about it. He said the same thing. He grew up in a really broken home, and then he said, watching wrestling, he's like, I bet you no one messes with these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that was his first introduction to wrestling.
You ever dabble in wrestling yourself?
So I used to do backyard wrestling when I was a kid. I would film it and wrestle. I would always take sick bumps.
Sure.
Super sick bumps.
Yeah.
Like, so I grew up in North Dakota, and a lot of my friends had like farmhouses and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we would have like legit like barns that were way high up, but then we could have a shit ton of hay. So you just throw someone off it, like fall 20 feet into hay,
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah, and then we would have. I remember one time. Oh, this one was bad. So my buddy Donald Heck, who's like
that's a cartoon grandpa's name.
I know it is. Yeah, and then Patrick Golden.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so Donald Heck is like 5'10", just like burly, like 16-year-old with a beard like yours.
Oh man, what a cool kid!
I know. And then you had Patrick Golden, who was like 6'4", right?
Yeah,
big dude. So the height difference is quite a bit.
Absolutely.
So they're giving me a double vertical suplex off of hay, like 4 hay bales piled up down to like hay down at the bottom. and they did not. I fell before them, and I ended up giving them both like neck breakers.
Yeah.
It was the worst for them. It was the coolest thing for me.
You had that on footage too?
Oh yeah, because we were
Sweet,
filming
yeah.
it, and it made it look like I reversed it.
Yeah.
And then when I sold it, I just popped right back up, and I was like, ah!
You said 4 hay bales tall?
Yeah.
So that's like 8-9 feet probably minimum.
That's probably.
I'm thinking those square hay bales.
No, I'm talking about the big
circle ones.
Big circle ones.
Oh wow, that's probably like 20 feet.
That's like probably like 30 feet.
Yeah,
probably closer to like 30 feet. Yeah.
That's bad, dude.
And like I had their chins.
Yeah.
And like they legit like.
They
had nowhere to go.
Yeah. And you didn't break their necks though.
No. I mean,
that.
they probably had that warmness that goes through your neck.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
like there's definitely some fluid out, but
yeah,
you're okay for now.
You're okay for now. Yeah.
Oh,
so
thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, if they would have had proof to put you away, bud.
So I also we would wrestle with we did a lot of cookie sheets because they make a loud noise but they don't hurt.
Makes sense.
And my mom hated it because she never had any straight, unbroken cookie sheets. They were always like demolished.
You see these cookies, Ian? You see these crumbly cookies?
Yeah.
This is your fault.
You have like half of a sheet and then like a sharp angle upwards.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. And then, so we used to use cookie sheets, and then we had a bunch of sheetrock. We're like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
Sure.
Like tables and stuff. We're like, oh, dude, we could use it like after, because we broke a bunch of it for tables. And we're like, oh, we got these little edges. Let's use them like chairs. Dude, that shit's concrete on your head.
Yeah.
Like that hurts so bad.
I mean, I've put a buddy's head through a concrete wall once, and I put my fist through, or not concrete wall. Wow.
Yeah. What are you, Juggernaut?
No, I don't know. I don't get that reference. I don't know superhero movies.
Here's the thing, though. You got to think, putting it through a wall, it's being held on all angles.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, a thin, I mean, not a thin, but a piece, like triangular, hitting you in the head. It's the force doesn't it has nowhere to spread that out, so it doesn't always break. And when it does, like if it hits you and it actually breaks, the other side comes back and like slaps you in the back.
Because it's connected with that paper.
Just getting nailed with all this stuff. Dude, I have numerous concussions from that, I'm sure.
Yeah, like you didn't stop doing it though.
No.
You're like, this hurts a lot.
Yeah, it's like, dude, this sucks.
Yeah.
Let's not use these anymore afterwards.
Meanwhile, like your mom's trying to like remodel the guest room and you guys were tearing up all this.
We legit in the basement. I don't know why I had so many mattresses growing up. Like, so I was the
maybe that's
youngest
why
of
your
6.
family was so poor. They bought so many mattresses.
So irresponsible with their money. Like just we need another mattress. Like seriously.
Sorry, Ian, we don't have dinner tonight. You're gonna have to go to sleep hungry. Good thing you have 4 mattresses.
No, I'm not even kidding. Like in my basement, like I used to just put mattresses on the floor, and like in my basement we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mattresses in my room because we had 2, 4, 2, 4.
Sure.
And 8 mattresses in my room, and then in my sister's room she had a bunk bed. My brother's room had mattresses. My mom's room had mattresses, and we had another room with mattresses. So many mattresses.
It sounds like you just bounce from bed to bed.
Oh, even better than that. You see how you have these windowsills coming out?
Yeah.
Imagine about another foot or a foot and a half up. So it's about 4.5 feet from the floor, 5 feet from the floor. We have our wall comes down and then it goes out and then it goes down. So it's like a built-in ledge.
Like a runner type thing. I don't know what that is.
Turnbuckle. You know what I mean? So you could climb
sweet.
up there,
Yeah.
and you could hit moves from the top. And so that's how we would do it. Is we would have all these mattresses out, and that would be our turnbuckle.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, my buddy Donald Heck, he's kind of a big boy. He has a lot of beard. And, and his brother Aaron Heck was even a much bigger boy. Like he was a big dude. And I remember one time I catapulted, by grabbing Donald's legs and using my knees against his lower buttocks, upper thigh, and launching him by falling backwards, throwing him forward into the wall, and he put a Donald-sized hole in my wall. Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, that's not even the worst of it.
I can't imagine what the worst of it is.
Oh, my buddy drove his car through my house one time.
Like, okay, so I'm gonna nitpick. Did he drive it through your entire house, like from one door out the other, like, you know,
So
first in then out, or did he drive a car? Probably he hit your house and it went inside,
so
and they brought it out the other way.
so this is how it worked. My driveway. This is the same house with the turnbuckle walls. So my driveway extended out, and then there's a backyard, and there's like a 3-foot hill, and like that went the length of the backyard. So my brother Chris used to always drive up it and like use it as like a derby track.
Oh, okay,
You know, up and down. And so my
yeah, that's a great.
Yeah.
I'm creating a sound effects compilation.
Please
so
do.
yeah, that'll be
It's
bug,
going around.
bug flying.
Yeah, and my buddy Josh sees that, and he's like, "Oh, I want to do that. Your brother always does it." And it's winter, and like the snow is just now melting, and so he dropped me off from work. He goes up, drives around the house. I run around the front side to the other side to see him, and like, "Ooh," you know, be an idiot. And next thing I know, I see his ass end slide out, and his car's like coming careening like right towards me. Who I'm at the side. I'm at the edge of the house.
Yeah.
He drives through one wall of my house and like gets to like where his front end puts like a dent, like actually breaks in the other wall.
Yeah. Doesn't go all the way through though.
It goes through one wall all the way through,
right.
but not all the way through the entirety of the house.
Yeah.
It just like caves in the wall, kind of like a Donald.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've got my callbacks on lock today.
That's great.
Yeah. So
I've got a pretty good callback as well.
Oh.
But we'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm just gonna let it's a slow burner.
I see this car in my house now, and I'm like, oh, dude, you need to get your car out of my house.
Yeah.
And I go.
My mom's gonna kill me if she sees this. She doesn't like bent cookie pans.
Yes, and he drove into my room.
Oh, even worse.
Drove into my room.
Now all my mattresses are dirty.
Yeah. And so I go inside, and remember how I told you they had the thing? Well, there was like a piece of wood that ran the whole way.
Yeah.
And so like, I see him trying to reverse, and there's just a shit ton of nails like in his wheel. And like he spits out this long like 12-foot piece of wood like. Woo! Like, if I was in the room, it would like decapitate me.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's lucky you were out there goofing.
So no, I was about to walk into the room when this happened. When I saw it, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" And like I ran back out, and then he actually pulled out. We had him pull up to the street. We removed the tire and put on his spare tire, and he drove away. And I acted like nothing happened. And then I called my mom after a bit, and I'm like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on. There's a hole in the house."
Really?
And she's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, there's a hole in the house." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "Come see for yourself."
Yeah.
And she looks at it, and she's like, "What?"
Your mom sounds like a cartoon.
Yeah, I know. I'm making her a cartoon now. But then the cops came, and I was just like, "I don't know what happened." And my buddy drove like a Geo Metro, and these hit cops, they thought it was like a fucking SUV. They're like, "Oh, look at the size of this hole. This had to have been an SUV." You know anyone who drives an SUV?
And Geos, for anyone who doesn't know, are generally,
so tiny.
No matter which make it is, it's smaller than the equivalent of a different model of whatever car.
So tiny.
And they come in the coolest colors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I
like
always liked
weird
Metros.
greens and
Or
stuff?
Geos. Yeah.
Like weird pukey greens.
Like a pale red.
Yeah.
So very surfer.
So they're
cool.
Tanks though.
Yeah.
They're such tanks. But yeah, he drove that through and they thought it was a big vehicle. And
you're laughing inside. You're like, they'll never get it.
I was like, I never know. And then they thought my cousin, we call him Dude. They thought Dude did it because that's the only person we knew with like a Suburban.
Yeah.
He's like, no, my car's fine. So Josh waited, like, he had to go, like, to the, to actually get the tire. He did it, like, a week later in another town.
Yeah.
Like,
because he didn't want people to be like, why do you...
Oh, hey, we're looking for someone who drove through a house.
Yeah. So, you have 8 nail holes?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were living in public housing at the time, so the state
Sure.
for it.
Yeah.
For my friend. So my mom actually didn't know until like I was in my 20s when I told her.
Well, it's good she's not gonna find out
Yeah.
when she listens to this, because
No.
that'd probably break her
Yeah.
heart.
She thought it was kind of funny when I told her.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
it.
Well,
After the fact. It's not like it cost her a bunch of money, so.
I have a similar story. If you don't
Let's
mind
hear
me
it.
sharing one.
No, this is a show about me now.
Okay. Yeah. So earlier I said I didn't care for comic book things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew Batman.
I'm wearing a Superman shirt right now.
I saw it.
I have a
right
Batman tattoo on my back.
When you got in my car, under my breath, I went nerd.
Mm.
But the midnight premiere of The Dark Knight, the one with Heath Ledger, Cheese Ledger, my buddy bought a ticket for me, so I was like, okay, I'll go. I was still young enough to think that maybe I'd like superheroes. So I went to Walmart and I bought a Joker toy. And I had fireworks and I was going to blow it up.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. But I decided to do this in my basement instead of outside. When I lived in the country, I could have done it outside. It would have been fine. But whatever. I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so I was going to fill up the tub and do it in there. But I wanted to test one of the fireworks first.
Mm-hmm.
So I lit it and then I was like, oh, I should have filled up the tub. So
Where am I going to put it?
Threw it in the toilet.
That's a horrible idea. That's going to blow up the toilet.
Yeah. I should have just dropped it.
Yeah.
Anyway, toilet blows up. As
Obviously.
you know. And I'm like, oh crap, literally. And my house smelled terrible, and I hid it from my dad for like 2 days. My mom's out of town, visiting like very sick grandpa at the time.
And you blow the toilet.
And I blow the toilet up.
Yeah.
And I don't tell him because I want to go to the movie, right? And then he makes me buy a new toilet and replace it, and like it's a whole thing. And my sister's like, "Why does it smell bad?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it." But the moral of the story is,
Joker did it.
He still does not think it's funny.
Your dad?
Yeah.
That you blow up the toilet?
Probably 11 years later, and he's still mad about it. Like it's unreal. Like I'll bring it up.
No, not the toilet again.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna. After dinner, he grabs the newspaper. He's like, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll see you later. We're like, don't bring the fireworks. He's just grumpy about it. But whatever, Dad. I still blow up toilets, man. Just kidding. I don't.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not with fireworks.
I haven't blown up. So you know how Andrew has those metal sparklers?
Yeah, dude.
Have you ever made a sparkler bomb?
No, because I'm not a psycho. Says the guy with his own podcast that, just talks into the void.
You've never made a sparkler bomb?
No.
It sounds way worse than it actually is. All it is just like metal sparklers.
It's just pretty dangerous, right? Like I think my brother, there was a kid in his grade that blew up his arm or died making one or something.
Is this like a true story? Or
This is a true story. Like somebody.
Do you make a pipe bomb or a sparkler bomb?
I don't know the specifics, but when I was growing up, my brother's 8 years older than me. It was just like you have to be very careful with fireworks because this guy either died or blew up his arms. Another guy died in the same grade, I believe.
That's crazy.
Car surfing.
And
so all the teachers were like,
don't do that.
Even though you kids aren't old enough to drive, make sure when you are, you never get on top of the car. And we're
ghosting it.
We're like, first of all, we didn't think of that yet.
No.
And second of all, that sounds awesome.
That sounds awesome.
I want to do it.
So, sparkler bombs, I don't know. I've made sparkler bombs, I don't know how many 1,000 billion times in my life.
Yeah.
I've never, the only time I've ever seen them, go wrong is where they don't do what you're thinking they're going to do. They usually, spark and, oh, that was cool. But if you don't make them right, it just shoots a 7-foot flame into the air, which is also pretty tight.
That sounds even cooler.
Yeah. I've never. I actually one time talking about fireworks. Okay. Donald Heck. All right.
This guy's trouble.
Yeah. So back.
Donald Heck.
Yeah. Legitimately, his family owned a farm, and they actually had miniature horses, and they had horses, and they had all this land, and on their land they had these old Girl Scout campgrounds that were falling apart. So
are they haunted?
Dude, there's never anything cool that happened. It was right on a cliff edge. It was super cool.
Cliff in North Dakota? This is Western North Dakota, right?
When I say cliff, I'm talking about the same structure, but 10 foot.
Oh, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
It's just over like a little like
a little river.
yeah, a little
Where you
creek
could,
bed or something.
yeah, no, it was a river, and you could catch northern in there, like 4-foot northern,
Oh,
on the
tight.
regular.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
super
yeah.
tight.
That actually like a.
It was a beautiful spot.
I wish I was a Girl Scout.
Like, it was super cool, and like we would canoe down there and everything. We do a bunch of stuff. We actually used to film horror shorts. I actually have a scar on my back because I fell back filming in there, and I fell and I was hung by a rusty nail.
Ugh.
And yeah, like rusty nail.
Yeah.
Gotta get that out. But no, we were there, and we had a bunch of artillery shells, and we lit one. And it was not in the actual canister to shoot out.
Oh, sure.
And so it just kind of like flew around, and then a bird flew in, and it hit the bird and blew up. I'm not even kidding you.
Oh man, that's sweet.
It was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
A bird legitimately threw, because there's no windows. It was just,
Right.
It flew through. This fucking artillery shell's flying around. We're hiding behind walls and stuff, and it comes in and just poof, bam! Like as it hits it. Just nails it, knocks it over, and just explodes. And there's just sparks everywhere.
Birds are one of the most satisfying animals to see explode.
Yeah.
Because of the feathers.
Yeah.
Like you see a cat explode, that's probably disgusting.
My mom was driving down the road in a truck, and a turkey jumped in front of the truck. And it nailed the windshield. Shattered the windshield.
Oh, yeah. Those suckers are big.
Dude, they're mean, too. Back in Minot, North Dakota, there used to be a gang of them. And Minot's more hilly.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of hills. I remember watching my buddy Gordon Jurgensmeyer, another cool name. He was running and chasing these turkeys, and there's a big-ass hill, and the turkeys are up above him now. And he's running down it, and these turkeys fucking jump out with, their talons out, like, ah!
Oh, man.
And, he's dodging him. He had to hit the ground and, duck and move, and, yeah.
Was he all right?
Yeah, he's good. He
probably
never, it went over top of him, and, he had to get out of there. But it was pretty tight. We had a bunch of cool areas. We had a coulee in my town where we'd go and do stuff, like hang out down there. And it's just like a ravine with a bunch of woods. There's a bunch of animals down there.
Just up to no good.
Yeah, we would have different areas named. Like one area was named Blair Witch because it looked exactly like Blair Witch Project.
Sure. Was there a makeout bluff?
There's Penis Point. Yeah. Sure. Because it's a hill that looks like a penis.
And you only went there with your dude friends.
Yeah, and then you had the Fountain of Youth, which was this runoff where this water came out of, and we convinced each other that if you drank this water,
you all somehow simultaneously
oh, this is the fountain. Oh, dude, look what we found here, guys. Yeah. Oh shit, we're gonna build a fort. Kent's clan, which it was edgy at the time. It was the KK.
Sure.
It was Kent's clan. And
was there a Kent involved?
Yeah, Kent lived above. He actually started the coolies on fire one time with Tommy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
These guys are punks.
Dude,
I don't know if I like you hanging out with these guys.
Dude, that was my life growing up. Was
also,
a bunch of punks.
I'm jealous. It sounds fun.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Too many experiences. I'll tell you what. But the coolies were a good time. We had all these places that we had named, and it was a super cool childhood growing up in those areas. And, just having that stuff. A
lot of people, when they leave North Dakota, and the same is for South Dakota, they look back on it and they're like, there's nothing to do there. That's why I left.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit state.
But if you, like I grew up in the country, you find things like that to do.
Yeah, it's super cool, especially if
you get in trouble sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's sucky things about small towns and smaller states, and there's stuff I really hate about North Dakota, and my biggest nightmare every time we go back.
Yeah.
Is I feel like I'm going to go back to North Dakota.
And not leave.
No, something's going to happen.
Sure.
It's going to be like the Twilight Zone. Everything's going to disappear. And all that's going to be left is North Dakota and me. And I'm going to be stuck there.
Yeah.
Forever. That's terrifying.
That is terrifying. That brings me back to the final question. My final question for you about magic.
Oh, yeah?
I asked you if there was negatives that came with it, and you said yeah, and then we moved on quick.
Yeah.
I don't need to know what they are.
Yeah.
You're going to keep doing it, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
They're not going to hold you back.
No.
You don't care. You're not
No,
afraid of that.
There's
Okay.
Nothing.
All right, man. I'm into it.
You into it?
Yeah.
There's you got to think like this is been my outlook on everything always like my whole life too. Like what's the worst thing that's possibly going to happen by you doing this thing? Like for example, like a lot of like I've been in like for example, like I never had a problem going up to a girl and just talking to him.
Sure.
And just getting to know him, and I would
it's like you treat them like people or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and I would just go up to him and just talk to him and have, like for example, like if I go up to this girl and ask her if she wants to go out on a date or go out to eat or whatever, what's the worst that's going to happen? She's going to say no.
Right.
That's legitimately the worst.
She stabs you and then
like that's not
your face.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, But like, what's realistically the worst thing that's going to happen? She's going to say no, and it's going to be a little embarrassing. And so I think that if you just go out and do that,
yeah,
odds are like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go out. Let's go get some food.
Yeah.
Oh, like you're already gonna get a no if you don't go out and do it.
I suppose.
Yeah. So just go and give it a try. Like sending the thing to Perry Saturn.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything was gonna come from it.
Put it out there.
I put it out there, and that happened.
And visualize it whether. And that's the whole philosophy behind a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. That's kind of a fun little turn of phrase. But
the thing is, you always got to work towards it.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do a sigil to win the lottery, you probably better buy lottery tickets.
Yeah. And if you want pizza, you're putting it out there.
Yeah.
It might not happen today. It might not happen tomorrow. Yeah. But you think about that image that you drew.
Pizza.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a try.
I thought pizza or magic.
Pizza. I've never had it.
Never.
No.
Magic pizza.
Magic pizza. Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. What about
jerk off on the pizza and then light that on fire?
Yeah, there you go.
So I've got a segment that I like to do
every
now and then. It's called Heroes and Dummies.
Heroes and Dummies.
I told you a little bit.
I thought you weren't a fan of superheroes.
I'm not a fan of superheroes by
heroes.
Any means. But people do good in the world, and they deserve to be recognized for it, I think. You know? I created this podcast because I desperately seek validation. Mm-hmm. I would like someday to somebody to be like, oh, Sam's a hero. Lift me up on their shoulders, sing Hava Nagila. Maybe it's a bar mitzvah that I want. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a bris. But so anyway, heroes are people that do good. They write you. They do something right in the community. Mm-hmm. Dummies are dummies. They're stupid. They're
dum-dums.
Yeah, maybe they're racist. Maybe they're not smart people. You understand? Mm-hmm. Does this all make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear cut.
Yeah. You want to start this off?
Me?
Show me how it's done.
Sure.
Or do you want to end it?
I'll end it.
Oh, you want to end it? Okay.
I don't give a hoot.
Okay. All right.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
So I'm gonna start off with my hero.
Okay.
All right. I don't know this hero's name because not every hero needs to be named.
No, not at all.
No. So there's a restaurant, the Little Oven, on White Bear in I can't remember.
Sure.
East St. Paul.
Yeah.
They have this amazing creamy chicken wild rice soup that's made by this cook there. That when I went there with a friend and tried this soup for the first time, it was inspiring and life-changing. I now go to that restaurant every week for that soup on Wednesday. And I actually came up with a story specifically from that encounter of having the soup. So he's an inspiration and a hero.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so go get some soup Wednesday.
Why don't you just bring it to movie night?
So, like, it's
kind of a you have it fresh type of deal.
It's better fresh.
All right. I
mean, I would bring it to movie night.
Well, and it's one thing to this guy's a hero. You're eating soup every week during the summer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But
I took a picture with him, actually. I'm not even kidding.
You said it was a creamy chicken and wild rice
soup. Mm-hmm.
That is a very Midwest Minnesota dish that is, I think, always good. Mm-hmm. But for you to give it such a high recommendation, such accolades, it's hero worthy. It sounds.
The best thing too is they have these bomb ass breadsticks that you dip in there. So good.
Dude, I love breadsticks.
Yeah. You would love these breadsticks.
Right?
All right.
I love most breadsticks.
You wanna talk about some dum-dums now?
Yeah.
I'll talk about dum-dum.
Let's get roasting.
Let's get roasting. All right.
Who made you feel smart this week?
Or
superior, however you want to put
it. Who are you better than?
Yeah.
So I have a neighbor, right?
Okay.
And this neighbor just recently moved into the apartment complex. It's not directly across the hall from me, but it's down the hall and one over. It's actually opposite. Like, he's not attached to me, you know.
Sure.
But he does this thing where he props the security door open with the rug.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Like, is he going out for a smoke, or he's just like...
Yeah, he just does it because he doesn't want to carry his keys with him, or he has people that are going to come over that he doesn't want, I got to legitimately walk outside my door, walk up 6 steps, and unlock the door. Like, it's that close. It's right there.
With having never been to your front door,
yeah.
I bet there's a sign that says, do not prop this door.
Yeah. And you know what happens when it's like 7,000 degrees and humid outside, and you prop the door? Like, the whole freaking apartment complex is warm at that point.
Yeah.
You're fucking with my Antminers, dude.
Yeah.
That's my money, yo.
Yeah.
You're messing with my crypto.
I don't want to... Is that a... That's another podcast entirely.
That's another podcast. That's a subject.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I got a dummy, and it's not a specific dummy. It's been building up forever. Mm-hmm. It's people that walk across the street. When it's not a crosswalk, they don't look. They just move across a street.
I always stop and wait for the green and the walk symbol. I always do it. I see people always like walk across, and I'm just like.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's people that walk across outside the crosswalk, in the middle of a block. Mm-hmm. And it's like, first of all, like, I've done it. Mm-hmm. You got to time it right. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Do not expect me to stop. Mm-hmm. I drive for a living.
Yep.
And I don't want to be convicted of manslaughter, but I think I could get away with it if he was texting and walking in the middle of downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah. You would not feel good about it.
No, I wouldn't.
But you would get away with it.
And I know I'd be right.
Yeah.
And that's what this segment's about.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna go across the street, don't take the hypotenuse that gets you to your location across the street fastest. Mm-hmm. Take the shortest route across the street, which would be direct across. I hate when somebody's in your lane of traffic and they're angling. And so they're still crossing, but they're also just still staying in front of you. Mm-hmm. I hate it. Makes me very mad. I use my horn a lot at people.
Do you honk at them angrily? I want you to feel my frustration.
It's a long drawn out, and then I shake my head.
Have you ever done the finger wave?
Oh yeah.
Like that is like the most demeaning thing. Like if it happens to you in society and someone's like, oh man, you're just like all fucked up.
A big one that I like is like looking at my watch.
Yeah.
Like, if they're doing something stupid. I don't think that one plays as much as like throwing them the double birds, but I'm not trying to insult them. I'm not trying to like demean them. Mm-mm. They're dummies. They should know they're dummies. Yeah. Hero this week. Mm-hmm. It's you, Ian. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Oh, man.
No, I'm just kidding. That'd be so stupid if I did that every week.
I was going to say, is it because I got the Superman?
No. No, but I do really appreciate you coming on.
Your hero, have fun having your hero live up to me.
Good thing it's not living. It's a conversion van.
Nice.
Yeah, so I saw this van when I was out delivering the other day. Black, orange with like a stripe down the side. Like super 80s looking. Cool like bumper sticker on the back. Said Van Diesel. Had like lightning bolts on it. I got a kick out of that. Shout out to whoever's driving that. You made my day.
That is tight.
And I wish I had the huevos to drive a van like that.
That guy has... He's Van Diesel.
Yeah. I want to know also if it's a diesel van.
That's legitimately what I was just thinking.
Like, it's a conversation starter, to say the least.
That's a podcast, possibly.
But, Yeah,
if
right?
not at least a segment.
Yeah, a weekly segment.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks again for being on, man. Next week, if you guys are tuning in, we will be discussing what Kaylee Anthony did that was so wrong.
I like that one.
Thanks for listening.